It's so beautiful, and like getting even just an ounce of what was inside her head is the most amazing and beautiful and just stunning thing that I have ever got to read. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today is all of the books that I read in November and December. I didn't film a video in November because I didn't read a lot, and I did not read a super lot in December, and I have my end of the year videos coming up, so I'm just combining them into a little video. In total, between November and December, I read 8 books, and so we're just gonna start with November and go all up to today, basically. So we first started off with Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. I butchered that, I'm so sorry. So basically, this book is about a girl named Vanessa Price. Vanessa quits her job to like pursue her dreams of traveling around the world, and then she creates videos on YouTube online, like sharing her dreams, and then there's a GoFundMe, and she just shares basically all her life, all her truth, and she shares her dreams on why she wants to travel the world. And her dreams on why she wants to travel the world is because her mom and her sister did not make it to see the age of 30. Both of them died because of this disease that's genetically passed on, and she possibly has a chance of this disease, and it's hard to see if you have it until you do, and it's like a life-threatening disease. And so she's learned not to take anything for granted since her mother and her sister died at 30, so she knows that her life possibly could not be that long until her half-sister leaves her in custody of her kid. And so now she's taking care of a baby. That's when it comes in Adrian, who is a lawyer that lives in her building and happens to be very good with babies. Just one night, the baby's crying, and Adrian's girlfriend at the time gets really annoyed, so he goes over to help take care of, and they just kind of form this connection, and they end up hanging out very often, and it becomes kind of their natural routine to just have takeout and watch movies together and take care of the baby together and just hang out and text every single day. And obviously they start falling for each other. And so Adrian, when they first become friends, never looks her up to like respect her privacy and get to know her as a person, not as an influencer. And she doesn't really know that, so Adrian doesn't necessarily know about her disease and the passing thing. He only understands bits and pieces that she's alluded to, figuring that he knew when he in fact did not. And so she doesn't think it's possible for them to get together or have a future because she thinks she's basically doomed to die. I rated this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's cute, and I think it has a good message that even though it's cliche, yes, life is too short. And I really liked Vanessa's fierceness and her ability to seize opportunities. They had a really cute routine and some like friendly, like just like natural flow, which was so cute to read. Next, I read Normal People by Sally Rooney. This book is pretty much beloved. I did it a 3 out of 5 stars. My thoughts on this book is it's a bit weird. It's just a bit weirdly, like bluntly uncomfortable is kind of the best way I can describe it. Connell, I don't know if that's how you say his name, and Marianne, they're in like this little small town at the time, and they're like completely polar opposites at school. Like Connell is big and popular, and Maureen is the weird ignored kid. But Connell's mom is the housekeeper for Marianne, and so one day he's picking his mom up from Marianne's house to take her home. Weird like conversation, and they just like form this connection, and they kind of have a thing together all of a sudden that they keep hidden from their school. So basically they're in a relationship, having sex, and they're just not telling anyone, and it's kind of this weird situation. And then obviously both find each other at this college in Dublin, Ireland. And so at this point the roles are kind of reversed. Like Marianne has her feet settled on the ground, she has lots of friends, like a boyfriend at the time, and Connell is kind of just like discovering he's in a new way, he doesn't really have anyone. And so throughout this whole like college 4 years, they're in different-ish circles, but they keep like crossing each other, and they keep going through other people and trying to do other things and like meeting new people, but they keep getting pulled back to each other almost. It's really just this weird book where they start something and then leave it unfinished, and then start something and then leave it unfinished, and they're just like always tied to each other in this almost unhealthy way, I want to say. And again, I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Redeemed by Lauren Asher, which is the 4th and I think the last in the Dirty Air series, which of course I've read the whole Dirty Air series, so I was very excited to have her in my claws to read. I rated her a 4 out of 5 stars. So Santiago had a accident in his Formula 51 that kind of completely ruined and took out his career, and he's kind of in isolation in Italy, hiding from the public for a few years now. And so Chloe has a little vodka, it's her birthday, she gets an ancestry kit from her best friend to figure out who her dad is, and that leads her to Italy, and that also leads her to accidentally break into Santiago's home. And at the time when she breaks into Santiago's home, Santiago's sister is there and believes that that's his girlfriend. So they begin to start fake dating on pretense for Santiago, and because she finally meets her dad, but she doesn't want to introduce herself, but finds out that her dad is a really big fan of Santiago, so they have this fake dating relationship so Santiago can get his family off his back, and so that Chloe has a way in with her dad. And obviously, fake dating, they began to fall in love for real. It's very much just a cute little grumpy sunshine with the sunshine going through really hard times, and some harsh reality comes over her. She discovers something and Santiago kind of keeps it from her. I did rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. Very cute, very much just like all of Lauren Asher's books. Beloved, I could read it again. Next, I read American Royals by Katharine McGee. This is basically said that what if America had a royal family? Like, what if Washington never became like a president with a government? What if we just became a monarchy like all the others? So this is about the Washingtons, the descendants of George Washington as a royal family. And so they've been on the American throne for like 2.5 centuries. And so this is all told like from different perspectives in the family. And so they have the heir, which is Princess Beatrice, who was the firstborn and is going to be the queen and heir of the throne once her father is gone. And then they have the spare, which is Princess Samantha, and she's twin brother named Jeff, and they're just kind of like the trouble twins. They party pretty hard, quite interesting. She's kind of a fun character, but she's basically the spare because she's not the oldest compared to Beatrice. And then there's Daphne, which is a schemer, and she's Jeff's ex-girlfriend who basically just wants to be a princess or some kind of royalty, and Jeff is her way in. And so obviously Jeff broke up with her, and so she's basically just scheming on how to get him back so she can get into some royal family. And then there's Nina Gonzalez. She's just a commoner. She's been friends with Samantha for years, and her and Jeff kind of start something. Basically just a normal girl who happens to fall in love with the prince, and her best friend's the princess, and she gets a lot more spotlight than she wants. And so it's basically just telling the stories from their 4 like perspectives. I did rate it a 3 out of 5. I mean, it was a very interesting take. It's kind of interesting to see like America, if we had a monarchy. I think it has that slight thing of romance, and it's fresh, and it's not really something we've seen before from like context wise. I think it's a good thing to read, especially if you're like a Bridgerton girl and you've like gone through like the Selective series and the Bridgerton series. I'd give this a chance. And so then I read Majesty, which is the 2nd in the series, and I rated this one a 4 out of 5. It was quite good. And so I don't really want to talk about this series without kind of spoiling the first book, but I think I'm gonna have to. Beatrice has to take their throne because her dad's gone. Samantha's now involved with this nobleman, trying to like make this guy jealous that Beatrice is with. Jefferson is now single after his breakup with Nina, and so Daphne finally finds a way in to finally get the title she's always dreamed of. And kind of this is just the aftermath of everything that happened in the end of book 1. I like this one a lot more. I think it had a lot cuter, intimate scenes and a lot like more drama now that you've kind of got your footing on the characters and kind of what their stakes are and the dynamic of everyone, which is kind of cute. Then there's Rivals, which is the third in the American Royal series, and funny because I rated it a 3 out of 5. So the League of Kings is meeting, and so Beatrice is obviously not a king. She's the first queen to rule, and so she's hosting the League of Kings, and she's kind of like, her wedding didn't happen, but she loves the guy that she was going to marry, and so she's just kind of like gaining her footing in the League of Kings, like discovering herself as a queen and trying to be independent without her husband. And so Samantha finally has her boyfriend, but he's a nobleman, meaning that it's kind of hard to form a relationship because he would have to give up being a duke and his land if they ever were to get married. And so that kind of just sets up some problems for the relationship and the dynamic that they might never have a future with each other because she can't expect him to give that all up just to be with her, and he vice versa. And so Nina and Daphne are starting to become friends, which is interesting because they're both been with Jefferson, and so that kind of dynamic forms, and because they both have a common enemy, somebody who's trying to get with Jefferson, which is so interesting. So there's way new dynamics in this and some new problems. I didn't like it as much as the second one, but about as well as the first. It's cute. It kind of just feels like it's a transformation for the last book, so kind of just like a transition to let you know how the characters are transforming. Then I read Crown of Midnight, which is by Sarah J. Maas, which is the second in the Throne of Glass series. I read the first one like in October, and so I read this one because I got the whole series for Christmas, so I'm hashtag hankering down on these eventually. And so basically they're just picking up on Celine because she's now officially the king's champion, kind of picking up on what her like life and her situation is now with her job and her dynamic between the prince and her guard. And so Celine kind of discovers something, kind of sets her and everybody around her in complete derail. But my favorite thing is that her and Cal get together. I absolutely love that they did that. They were very cute together in this book. So this also feels kind of like a transition book, but it kind of ends with kind of seeing where her loyalties are going to end up, where and what she's willing to fight for against the king. So also kind of feels like a transition book. I rated it a 3 out of 5. Nothing too special, but I do love Sarah J. Maas, and I feel like Celine's story is going to get even better, so looking forward to that. And then last but not least, I read The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop, which is a memoir written by Kelly Bishop. My copy luckily has been signed by Kelly Bishop. I read this and I finished it like an hour ago. I rate this book a 5 out of 5 stars, a 6 out of 5. This memoir is beautifully written. It literally feels like you're sitting and chatting with Kelly herself. You're just sitting and having a cup of coffee in like her cozy apartment, and you're just sitting and chatting. She has this like dynamic flow in her thought process that's just so beautiful and cozy and comfortable. It just feels like a really easygoing chatting conversation with a friend, and that's just such a wonderful thing you can do. I don't read a lot of memoirs. By a lot, I mean none. Same with biographies. I find them to be quite boring. I find the writing style to be boring. I find them to not have too much of a comfortable feeling for me to stay entertained, but not with Kelly. I was just reading the first page. I was immediately sunk in and just delivered into her world of conversations, and I just sat down on my bed and I finished the whole thing. It's just so wonderfully welcoming, and her life is so brilliant, and the way she writes is also magnificently brilliant, like she is. And so just like reading her life and her process and her thought processes and things that she experienced that we all got to see, and seeing it from her perspective is just, it's so amazing to read. Matching up those moments together was so cool, and just she's just such an incredible woman, and she's had such an incredible life. This memoir, like dedicated to her life and all of the wonderful things that she has done, and talking about all the wonderful people that she has met and the mediocre people that she has met, and just how she handled her situations and herself and her thoughts with grace. It's just so amazing to read. It's so beautiful, and like getting even just an ounce of what was inside her head is the most amazing and beautiful and just stunning thing that I have ever got to read. I don't know how to describe how like euphorically amazing that I found this memoir to be. She not only like teaches you and like shows you her moments and her life, and it's like basically reading fiction because you're never going to experience it the way she did, but it also is like almost a life lesson, and she just gives you advice and shows you why she believes this advice, and just like shows you thoughts on who you should want to try to be and the dreams you should try to achieve, and how much love that can be surrounding, and how grateful you should feel for your life. And that's just such a lovely feeling to leave a book that your dreams are attainable. So 5 out of 5 stars. I could talk about this memoir for the rest of my life. It's amazing. And that would be everything that I read in November and December, which are the last 2 months. This is basically the last little what I read in which month of 2024, which is quite interesting. I feel like I've been better this year, not perfect, so the goal of January is to be perfect, and by perfect I mean posting a video every month and reading quite a lot more. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.